Expunging your record creates about over $10,000 of benefit in the first year alone. Black people have traditionally been almost 4 times as likely to be criminalized for participating in the cannabis industry, whether as a consumer or on the supply side, even though we know that across racial and ethnic groups, consumption of cannabis is relatively stable and equal. So in spite of all of that, then when we look at the current industry, we know that participation of those communities of color is relatively low when we're talking about the new licensed industry. 2016 BuzzFeed survey estimated that only 1% of cannabis dispensaries were owned by African Americans. So that's a huge problem. It's a moral problem, it's an economic problem, and it's one of the central problems that we set out to solve. I saw that as this industry was really developing, more jobs, more profits were being created, but I didn't see them coming back to those communities that have been disproportionately harmed by the war on drugs. So that's why we set up Cage Free as an organization that could address that problem, that could serve as this bridge between the cannabis industry and those organizations doing that vital work of repair. We know from a 2014 Stanford study that expunging your record creates about over $10,000 of benefit in the first year alone. Most of that accrues to the person who's applying for it, but some of that also exists on the government side. So we've been able to create over $3 million of economic impact just in this first year, and that will continue to accrue as the years go by. Past year, we've done a good job at elevating this discussion and inserting these ideas that, when you're talking about cannabis and you're talking about this emerging licensed industry, we need to be focused on equity, justice, and repair. Expungement programs need to be built into new cannabis policies. Social equity programs need to be built into new cannabis policies. And community reinvestment needs to be built into these new cannabis policies as well. That's the baseline from which everything else should proceed.